I had plans, I tell you, plans. Hello, I'm Marilyn, Maya, and welcome back to my channel. Well, you know what they say about plans? Yeah, well, that happened to me. So I want to present to you my Revamped Victober. Now, as you know, this is my second year doing Victober, and it's a beloved readathon on Booktube where we read Victorian literature. And I guess you can say that if you read one Victorian book, you've completed the readathon. The hosts for this year are Kate Howe, Katie at Books and Things, Roz at Scarlet about the books, Melissa at Blatantly Bookish, and Petra Yu. And I'll have all of their prompts and their channels described in the description box. And originally I was going to do the prompts, and originally a lot of things were going to happen, but, well, life. I don't know if you remember Regis Philbin. He was a host. He was a lot of things in the 1950s, and maybe some of you later, baby boomers or later, might remember that he had a show with Kathy Lee Gifford, and he had a saying, "I'm only one man." So I have to say in a different way, "I'm only one woman." And that's what happened this Victober. I started out with a bunch of books that I thought I was going to read, and then I completely revamped or changed my mind. And I want to tell you about the original books that I was going to read, as well as the books that I changed my mind to. Last year, I read The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, and it's a sensational mystery novel. So I was so happy when I got almost a brand new copy of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, which is a beloved book on Booktube, and it's also a sensational novel. I think it's a mystery as well. And no, I'm not going to read it, and I'll tell you why later. I am reading Mary Elizabeth Braddon's Lady Audley's Secret with a group of wonderful women who are doing a readathon, and we're having a good time with it. It's also a sensation novel, and because of that, I didn't want to read The Moonstone because I felt that this was too much. You know, this is not a small book, this is a really big book. So I said, I'm going to keep to one sensation novel. And I'm really enjoying Lady Audley's Secret. It's very easy to read. It's a little, as I said to the women that I'm doing the readathon with, the characters are a little bit, there's a lot of coincidences, they're a little cartoonish, but I still haven't figured it out. It's not like it's simple, but it's readable, and I'm hoping to really like it more as I get more into it, but I didn't want to read another sensation book. Then I thought, well, it's a little bit not Victorian, but it was edited in the Victorian, I think it was either written in the Victorian period and edited later, and that's Frankenstein, and I really went all out. I have the Frankenstein, just a beautiful copy of it, and of course this is Mary Shelley's novel, and it's Gothic horror, and it's, I heard it was the first science fiction book. I don't know if that's true, but it's a combination of Gothic horror and science fiction, and yeah. And and then I really got ambitious, and I got the annotated Frankenstein, which really sounds interesting. But I'm going to read this with one of my subscribers next month. So again, I had to revamp my Victober. Then I took out of the library the whole and original illustrated Sherlock Holmes by author Conan Doyle. And this has This is a really nice book, and I might dip in and out of it because the illustrations are really very Victorian. And I remember reading one of his short stories in high school and really loving it. So yeah, I love mysteries, so of course I have to read Sherlock Holmes, but no, not this whole book. And then of course life intervened. I'm doing a wonderful buddy read with Lindy of Alberta and Freedom, and this book is so special to me. It is a 5-star read for me. I'm not finished with it, and I don't want it to end, so I end up reading like every chapter twice, which is not doing me any good for starting Victober, but I don't care because I love it that much. And then, of course, September had Shorty September, and I had many books to read. One is a surprise. I got it and I saved it. I don't know if any of other booktubers or readers in general feel like you're saving a book when it's going to be either thrown out or is in a little library. This was in a last chance section of my library where they give away books, and I took it home and I washed it a little bit, you know, with a little alcohol, and it's by Lois Ann Yamanaka, and it's called Name Me Nobody, and she's from the Big Island of Hawaii, and it's written in Pidgin, more or less in Pidgin, and talks about you know, it really brings back the feels of 1970s Hawaii, even though I wasn't on the Big Island, I was on Oahu. So yeah, I'm loving it. It's queer. It has queer characters in it, I should say, and it talks about it's really a young adult or even middle grade book because they're in middle grade. I'm just loving this book, and if you've read this book or anything else by Lois Ann Yamanaka, please let me know in the comments. I would really love to hear it. And then, of course, another life event happened, couple of life events, but that's another story. I was waiting for the Netanyahus, which I think won the Pulitzer Prize this year, by Joshua Cohen. And I took it out of the library, but I only have 2 weeks to read this, and I have to bring it back. And it's a dense book. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I'll just say it's Wall Street Journal's 10 Best Books of 2021, notable books, Kirkisbeck's fiction book, winner of the National Jewish Book Award, and yeah, I will tell you a little bit about it because I'm enjoying it, but I'm not going to get to finish this because, like I said, it is dense. And basically, it's Corbin College made up, not quite upstate New York, winter 1959 to 1960. Reuben Blum, a Jewish historian, is co-opted into a hiring committee to review the application of an exiled Israeli scholar specializing in the Spanish Inquisition. So I'm not going to go more into it, but if you look at it, has a wonderful cover of one of these old-fashioned cars in the snow, and I think it's bringing the Netanyahus to stay with him. But it's the subject matter is one that I'm interested in, but it's not a book that you can race through. So even though I'm not reading it in Victober, I have been dipping into it during these last 2 weeks, which is kind of messing up my Victober, or revamping it, as I would like to say. And then, and this is, you know, you might call it silly, but I did buy a Mediterranean diet magazine, 100 Ways to Eat Healthy, that I seem to be picking up instead of what I should be picking up, which is Victober Reads. But wait, there's more. I am doing my Victober the way I want to do it, and what I want to do is reread Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, of course. And I just happened to pick this up in a secondhand bookstore, and I haven't read this for years and years. Didn't know it was this thick, and I said, this is what I want to read this month for Victober. And since I read very closely and annotate in the book, if it's mine, this might be all that I can read, plus A Study in Scarlet, which is a much smaller, I think this was the first Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes story. Some people, it has mixed reviews. Some people love it and some people don't, but it's short, and I thought I can get to this plus Jane Eyre. Then what should come in the mail? Yes, Kim of Middle of the Book March, it's here, and it's George Eliot's Middlemarch. And you see, it's still got the plastic cover, and it's an interesting cover. It just has E on it, and I guess for Eliot, of course, and it has like a little design around it. What do we live for if it is not to make life less difficult to each other? And Kim loves this book, and she convinced me to read it. And I don't want to read it fast. I want to read it slowly. So, you know, with these 3 books, and there's more, and I'll tell you about them, I think that's all I could do. I'm not going to finish Middlemarch in October, but I'm going to make this a project for the coming months, because I heard that this is a book for grown-ups. Virginia Woolf said that Middlemarch was the only Victorian book written for grown-ups. So to me that means it's dense. So I'm making this a project, and I'm looking forward to it actually, so that's great. I also bought 2 books on my Kindle because I listened to a lot of suggestions about Victober, and one of them was Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. And then I found out it's a pretty dense book too, but it's set in English society before the 1832 Reform Bill. Wives and Daughters centers on the story of youthful Molly Gibson, brought up from childhood by her father. When he remarries, a new stepsister enters Molly's quiet life, lovable but worldly and troubling Cynthia. The narrative traces the development of the 2 girls into womanhood within the gossiping and watchful society of Hollingford. So this might become a project too. But the next book I'm going to read first, actually, after, of course, while I'm reading Lady Audley's Secret, and that is a suggestion that I got from Katie at Books and Things. And it's by Geraldine Jewsbury, and it's called The Half-Sisters. And I really want to read this as soon as possible. This radical novel contrasts the lives of 2 women in Victorian England. The illegitimate Bianca contends with poverty and prejudice to attain eminence and respectability as an actress. Her legitimate half-sister Alice finds herself unhappily married, trapped in the dreary and Philistine existence endured by numerous middle-class women of her time. Each has to confront the implications of passion in a woman's life with surprising results that challenge contemporary orthodoxy. Now back in print for the first time in over a century, of course I'm not reading it in print, this poignant work addresses the damaging effects of conventional Victorian beliefs about women. And I really, Katie really was smiling when she talked about it. So yeah, so I'm going to start this right now, in fact. Yeah, so you know how plans go awry? I mean, like I said, I'm only one woman. I'm not a speed reader by any means. I read only at night, which is maybe a little odd, but I do other things, other creative endeavors, or I try to during the day. So I try to read at least 100 pages a day or more if I'm really into a book, or a buddy read, which is very important to me. But anyway, so this is my Revamped Victober TBR. Have you read any of these books? Do you suggest that I start on any of these books sooner than later? Please let me know in the comments. And I really hope that you have a wonderful October. If you're reading spooky stuff, if you're reading only Victorian literature, whatever you're doing, please stay well and be happy, because that's the main reason we're reading, right? For happiness and to learn and to just pass the days in happiness. And I'm a little jealous of all the people who are talking about how cozy their autumn is getting, because we're really still hot over here, really, really warm. So I wish you, like I said, a lot of love and aloha.